Welcome to Street Smart Business. I'm Eric, and welcome Trevor Rood. How you doing today, my friend?
Wonderful, wonderful.
So this is not your first time here.
It's not.
But I tell you what we're going to do. I want to go back and we're going to explain to people what a Trevor Rood is.
Okay.
Just in case they never got to see the first episode. But again, I think if this is something that you watch, you ought to have a pencil and paper sitting there because I think there's going to be some good stuff here today. That if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, just getting started, been in it a while, maybe frustrated with the current workforce situation, there should be some good stuff here today.
Yeah.
So let's start off, dude. Who is Trevor Rood?
Oh, I am I don't know who I am. Well.
So remember I said about that pencil and paper? Put it away. There's going to be nothing of quality coming out today.
I haven't had enough of this yet. But, well, I won't go into too much personal stuff, but on the professional level, sign maker, graphic designer, really branding, and just an enjoyer of the creative.
I understand.
I guess hobbies and that kind of thing. I enjoy camping, traveling, reading now. That was something I never enjoyed, but up the last couple of years I've been heavy into reading. But always learning, always trying to expand my knowledge on the things I enjoy and the work that I create. So
now you mentioned reading is now call it a hobby. It's probably more of a non-negotiable part of every day now.
Yeah. It's really not something I let myself drift too far away from.
What do you read?
Nonfiction.
Okay.
Mainly business books, self-help type, kind of all helping myself personally, professionally, becoming a better leader. Anything that will help myself, my business, my family, and the people around me.
So what about the reading that caused it to be now a major part? I mean, what makes it so magnetic that you can't, now it's a non-negotiable?
Well, I don't have any formal schooling, so to be able to grab knowledge from people who've done it, who've been there, who've been through the crap,
right.
A lot of the crap that I've been through as well, but seeing how other people have made it through and how they've succeeded and turned failures into success, trying to mirror and mimic those who have come before me.
Sure. Now, do you have world's going to end tomorrow and you're packing your backpack for survival? What's the 2 or 3 books that would be a no-brainer that you'd have to take them because you'd want to save them for humanity to see in the future?
Well, I'll go to the first book that started it all for me. It was given to me. My mom gave it to me, said it was something that I needed, and at the time there was no book. I'm confident there was no book in the world that I needed more. And it's a simple concept, but Mike Michalowicz, Profit First.
Got you.
That probably something I would have learned had I gone to school for business, but just something that I never focused on enough. And man, when you can pay yourself first, everything else kind of falls in place.
Sure.
When you can take care of the home, take care of yourself, it's kind of like that oxygen mask in the plane. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So that was the first one that kind of kicked it off, and that was 2000. It was either 17 or 18. I think it was 17 that I got that book.
So reading just has recently become like this.
Oh yeah,
got you.
Yeah. Prior to 17, I probably read more books now in a month or two than I've read in my entire life from birth to the time I was 32,
including
33.
School.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's that kind of jump started it, and implementing the things that I've learned through reading and finding the value in that has just made me want to read more. And not all. And I don't physically read the books often. It's a lot of audiobooks.
Sure.
But when I do have time to sit down and actually open a book and read it, I really enjoy that.
So how much a book cost? Is it like $500,000?
Well, depends on how you look at it, I guess.
That's the value, not the cost.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I don't think I have. Well, I shouldn't say I don't have an expensive book. I do have one expensive book, but $15.
Yeah. So is that right there is something that anybody can do?
Oh,
That's not a barrier to entry.
Sure.
So if an entrepreneur is starting a business, or somebody wants to start a side hustle, there literally is no excuse.
Yeah.
And no barrier entry to the knowledge required to do a good job at it. Correct.
And if you don't have the 15 and I have the book, I'll let you borrow it.
Preach.
So I've borrowed several from you.
Exactly.
And
hey, by the way, where the hell are they?
I've given them back. The last one took a while, but I got it back to you.
That's all right. I charged interest. It's all good.
But that is one of the other books.
Mm-hmm.
If, you said to give 3. That's another one.
And what is that book?
To be quite honest with you, I don't remember the name of it offhand. What you know what it is?
Yeah, and because you just told me, my mind just went totally blank.
It's an odd title.
It's Sydney Barrows.
It's Sydney Barrows.
She was the Mayflower Madam.
Right.
So again, she ran a high end escort service. And the summary of the book, if I had to give it a one sentence thing, it was that she totally through her experience learned human nature,
mm-hmm.
and what excited people, what parted them from their money. And how to deliver, A1, almost unmatchable service.
Yeah.
And the term that I always like to pull from that book is experience design. That should be tattooed on every entrepreneur's, forearm. Maybe backwards on your forehead so you see it when you look in the mirror in the morning.
Sure.
What did you take from the book?
I think the experience design is probably the most valuable chapter in that book.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything that's more valuable and more important in business than to create memorable experiences for customers. And that's goes hand in hand with branding. Your brand is what people think of you. And if you can't give them an experience that sets you apart from your competition, there's really no reason for them to not shop elsewhere. If you can give them top tier customer service, great product, and deliver every time, there is no competition. And that is something that this book is something that I just read it a couple months ago, and opened my eyes to everything that I was doing wrong, and things that I want to work on and am working on. But yeah, the experience design, taking care of the customer, paramount.
So I think we need to unpack that concept a little bit. And I want to come back because I definitely want to know what your third book is.
Okay.
But, I think one way to look at experience design, there's a couple things. There's another term for it, is they call it curated experience. And I like that definition sometimes better because it sounds like you're actually doing something. You are making and creating the design and designing every single client touch point throughout. They don't know who you are, all the way up to satisfied customer and then to return customer. So you see a lot of these new businesses get started and, great product, great service, but their way they answer their phone sucks. Or their building's a shitbox. Sure. There's all these things that just take away from their product, and all of a sudden it makes them makes them more vanilla instead of being in live, vivid Technicolor, the old 50s term.
Right.
They're just the same. So give me some, how would you design an experience for a client? What are you doing in your business to create that experience from start to finish?
So I've started drawing out a blueprint of what I want that experience to be. And it starts before they even walk in the door.
Amen.
Creating the website that showcases what you do, but also who you are, who they're going to be working with. The advertising that you put out there. We do some radio ads and that kind of thing. We try to create those ads that don't just get lost with all the other commercials that you hear when they pop up. And then you pull in the driveway, the parking lot, and you see the storefront. You can see in the windows there's maybe some good lighting. Things are clean. And then you walk in the front door. What do you smell? What do you hear? Is there music playing? What kind of music's playing? If if there's a smell, is it an old musky building, or is it we currently are working with cedar. I have some diffusers in the shop that we put cedar in. Trying some different things that when I walk in, I know I can close my eyes and I know I'm in Foghorn. Mm-hmm. I can close my eyes. I can hear what's going on. I can smell. It doesn't smell like nothing. There's actual scent that you notice when you walk in. I like being able to hear work going on in the back. So we have our shop that's in the back, but you can hear the things going on. You can hear the printers running. You can hear the screen print.
That's huge.
So when a customer is waiting for, maybe Haley has to come back and grab me real quick. They can hear the environment and hear what's going on. All the way to, our boxes that we put our shirts in. Mm-hmm. We package our shirts. It's printed, has Foghorn on it, has a little motivational saying printed on the top of it before you open it up. Currently, there's no limit to your greatness or something like that. I can't remember which one we're using right now, but
Confucius.
Yes, yeah, right. And then things that we aren't doing yet that we want to do: follow-ups and questionnaires and thank you notes. Even when we start sending out thank you letters, just that whole experience from before they even meet us till weeks or months after they've used our services, we are creating that experience. So that, there's a lot that I just talked about that we are doing. There's a lot we aren't doing. There's more that I want to do. 24 hours in a day. So,
well, here's the thing I think is important. I mean, there's a couple of business lessons that can be drawn from that. One is you're never going to be done with this.
Right.
It's always going to be evolving, fluid, changing, because you're going to get feedback back and realize, hey, the cedar is what I found out. People can be allergic to cedar. This dude blew up in my freaking waiting area. So there's one is you're always going to be changing and adapting. Number two is I think that you're in a business that they have other choices. So the lesson to be drawn is you're doing everything you can to compete with $1.99 on the internet.
Yeah.
So a lot of I can see like a mechanic or a tow truck guy, contractor going, I'm not freaking putting cedar in anything, and thinking it's not important. Well, I'm not saying cedar or those type of things is perfect for their business, but I am saying that today more than ever in our history, the consumer has choices. So all of a sudden, we're standing up on the pedestal. They're up on the pedestal looking down. I make it like a rock concert. They're the rock star in the rock concert.
Sure.
And they're looking out in the stadium show, and this is all their choices that they have to make when it comes to who am I going to give this $50 to, this $20 to, this $1,000 to. And all of a sudden, you're just one of the 100,000 standing in the way. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, when you put effort into the minutest details, that has a subconscious impact of if they're this concerned about their packaging, how much concern did they put into the quality of the job or the work that they're doing? And then that's easily visual. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to part with their money.
Sure.
So kudos. I mean, that alone, you could shut this podcast off right now. And if your business just focused strictly on taking an audit of every single touch point that you have with your client and doing anything in your power to make that more pleasing, more easier for them to part with money, make them happy, make them referable. Again, shut the damn podcast off and go get to work on it because that's priceless. So,
and I would say that that book, and I've told you before,
we'll make sure that we stick it when we post a video. We'll make sure we have it down there with a link.
Yeah.
Good luck finding it.
Hard book to find.
Good luck finding it.
A hard book to find.
We should throw one up for auction for like a charity. We'll throw one of them up and get people to bid on it.
the number is high on what it would take for me to not buy that book if I
told
had
you
to
my
buy it.
free story, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, just saying.
You did. But I ended up buying. You can't really buy them new anymore.
No.
They're all used. They're
No.
not in print, which is crazy.
I actually, to be honest, since our last mastermind group, I did try to reach out to her via her website, which I'm not sure. She's got to be upper 70s now, I'm guessing. And I tried to reach out to her through her website to say, hey, I think there's a second printing that I think you could sell the heck out of this. Are you interested? How can I help? I think your book has value. And I've never heard back. But I don't think, again, I can't speak to, her health, her age.
Sure.
She would have to be upper 70s now.
I would think so.
But you think back, again, back when she was pioneering, we're looking at, late 70s through the 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Innovative.
Yeah. Yeah, she was... She got it. There just no... It is the most valuable book I own. It was the most expensive, and also the return on that is
probably be even larger than the other books.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably combined.
The other thing, too, is I think it's awesome. It just proved that you can steal things that work from any business.
Yeah.
We just stole a whole bunch of stuff from an escort service.
Yeah. What's the point in reinventing the wheel when it's all there?
Exactly.
Everything's there to become successful, to take care of your business and the customers that you serve. Everything's out there, and it can be accessed so easily. And it's through books, and that's been my education.
Yep.
Aside from Hard Knocks, the school of Hard Knocks, but books have been, I've spent on books in the last 3 years less than what I would have spent on room and board for a quarter at college.
Yep.
And have the return I've gotten on that and the value I've gotten out of that is far greater than anything I would have spent going to school.
Sure.
The big thing is implementation. Implementing.
Reading's only half of it.
Yeah, it's not even half. Reading's 5%.
Right.
If you're not implementing it, you can read every book in the world. It doesn't matter. So that's a struggle that I've had is, making the time to implement and really digging in. Not to say I haven't done any of it, but it's right now, especially with, the lack of help that we have as small business owners.
Sure. Which I'm sure we're going to argue about tough. Here in a bit. Probably,
yeah. It's certainly something that I probably need to put as a higher priority in my daily tasks. But it is definitely something that I'm not brushing to the side.
Right.
So.
Well, I think if we can solve that issue for most businesses, that would be a gazillion-dollar idea.
Yeah.
Because we're not alone. I struggle with the same things you struggle with. And really, I was, out visiting a client and thought, you know what? Hey, I'm going to stop and get a sandwich quick. This is not Hard 75 or whatever the hell that was called.
We can talk about that, too.
So I whip into an Arby's down around Ashland, Ohio, and hop out of my car, go to walk in, yank the door, closed. And big sign right on the door says, well, due to staffing issues, we're drive-through only.
Yeah.
Even a big national chain is having the same problems that, Bill's Towing has on Main Street, Ohio.
Yeah. Well, when Cedar Point's paying $20 an hour to wash dishes, that tells you something.
Yeah.
Man, wow. It's unreal.
No kidding. So what's book number 3?
Okay, so, wow. When you first asked me, I knew exactly what book number 3 was, and then when we were just talking, I thought, well, maybe that's not book number 3. I'm struggling between 2, but I'll give you one. Who Not How.
Mm-hmm.
Who Not How is fantastic book, and it really coincides with what we were just talking about. Was it Dan Sullivan?
Dan Sullivan's the mind behind it.
He's the mind behind it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the author.
And we'll make sure we put that in the link too.
Sure. But, as we were just talking about finding help and, how to create time to get these other things done, Who Not How is a great concept on spending the money on people and people who can get the job done, who can take things off your plate to free you up to get the things that you really need to be focusing on done. Because, like it or not, you're probably only good at a couple things. But as a small business owner, you have to do hundreds of things.
You wear all the hats.
You wear all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can put people in place that will take care of things that aren't your strong suit, that frees you up to do the things that you're good at, and your business can grow at a much more rapid pace than if you try to do everything. In fact, often it won't grow at all if you try to do it all. Mm-hmm. Which is something that I've experienced and in the middle of experiencing, and it probably hit me several other times in life. But if you can put people in place who are better at you at certain things, it makes you better, it makes the people around you better, it makes your business better, serves your customers better. Everything's taken care of. So Who Not How, that's got to be a top 3 book.
The cool thing about that book conceptually is it's something that this is why Dan Sullivan, and again, former Norwalk native, he actually graduated from
that right? I did not know that.
He actually graduated from St. Paul High School. Wow. Met him several times, and I would love to have him on here to chat, but he is probably the coach to the millionaires that there is out there, billionaires.
Yeah.
Who Not How. I think the thing that's cool about that is a lot of us as employers now, as small business owners, we always think about if we're going to get help, it's going to be a hire. Well, part of the concept in the book is also collaboration. Mm-hmm. And I think for, a lot of small businesses, the workforce is the workforce. But we know guys that get kick ass and get stuff done are other business owners. So we may have to really work hard on strategic partnerships to collaborate on things to make whether it's trading labor, whether right. You use your ability, I'll use mine for you, use yours for mine. I think that's going to become a bigger and bigger piece of how we're all going to get work done out here in small town USA.
I think you're right.
Because again, we can hire somebody, but if I can get $15 flipping fries, and again, I'm going to be honest, this isn't going to last.
No.
If you want the $15, you better get in and get after it, because that will correct itself.
Yeah.
Each job, no matter what the pay is, has to ultimately deliver value above what the cost is.
Yes.
And I'm here to say that I'm 99% sure that we don't $15 an hour to flip fries is not where we're going to end up. No. We're even seeing, even McDonald's. I was in one the other day where you have to, we ordered virtually. There was not a person.
Is that right?
And it wasn't a choice. I've went into places where it was a choice. You could do it at the, at a kiosk, or you could go now kiosk only.
Yeah.
So, it's happening.
$8,000 kiosk.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't take too many payrolls to pay for that puppy.
Nope.
So definitely changing. So what was the book you were tossing back and forth with Who Not? Because, so far these 3 have been outstanding choices for any entrepreneur or any small business.
Sure. I'm much better at a top 5 list, but a top 3
is
tough.
Dude, we'll do freaking 5.
Sorry.
What's number 4?
Okay, number 4 is going to be Principles by Ray Dalio.
That's a tough read.
It's a tough read, but it's a book that you can open to any page. You don't have to read it from
No, it's
start
not
to
meant
finish.
that way.
It's not meant that way. It's also not meant. It's not strictly a business book. This is a lifestyle, and just the principles of life, the principles of business, how to implement, how to act on them. His book. It's been a long time since I've read his book. His was one of the first that I read. It was probably one of the first 5 that I read.
It's damn near like 800 pages, if I
It's a
remember right.
huge book.
Yeah, it's a paperweight.
It's huge.
Yep.
But it is really one of the books that you can open up any page and implement. It's applicable to life, to business. Such a great book. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly one thing that it talks about, because it's just all over the place.
I call it an operating system.
Yeah.
It's not really instructional. It's actually more of an operating system for decision making, for implementation. It's not really giving you the ultimate answer. It's more about giving you the process to think, decide, create, collaborate, that type of a thing.
Yeah. And there's an app that he has, and it's just... I
haven't seen the app.
The app is pretty cool, and he also has a newsletter that he sends out. But it just kind of breaks it down.
How much did that app cost?
It was free.
Oh, okay. How about the newsletter? How much that cost?
Free.
No shit.
Yeah, right.
Barrier to entry to get into business is tough.
It's tough. But yeah, principles. That's a great one.
Okay, wise ass number 5.
All right, Creating Magic, Lee Cockerell.
Oh, now see, I would never have pictured that book in your top 5.
Is that right?
No,
Okay.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it. Huh? There's a lot of books you just leapfrog that puppy over.
I know, and it's so hard. It is so hard to create a list of the top. You know, there's so many that I could group together. But Creating Magic kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, my number 2 book that I was talking about earlier. But it is really, if you're not taking care of your customer, you're creating competition for yourself.
Yep.
If you can take care of the customer, there's no competition. I mean,
and Creating Magic is experience design.
It is. Exactly. It is experience design.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, maybe I shouldn't have that as a top 5 because it is so similar to.
But it comes at it from a whole.
It does.
It's the same basis.
Right. So Lee Cockerell was, I don't know his title, but he came from Disney.
Yes.
And if anyone has been to Disney, I have not. I've never been to a Disney resort or anything.
I won't go either.
But yeah, I probably won't either. But you know, the behind the scenes of the things they do to make sure that the people that show up to their amusement parks and their hotels and they have so many different things. The behind the scenes of what they do to make sure that everything's magical.
Yep.
Is unreal. There's nothing that if you were to walk through that park wasn't designed to make your experience the greatest, down to where they put trash cans. I mean, it's unreal. So, experience design, it might be the most important thing.
Yep.
It may be the most important thing aside from knowing your numbers.
Yeah, but that's not as fun to talk about.
It's not, but if you take care of experience design, your numbers are going to be fine.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'd like to add, I think a book that would be, if we wanted to create a trilogy for Sidney Barrow's book, Creating Magic, would be The New Gold Standard by Dr. Joseph Michalowicz.
Yeah.
That's the one where he goes in and he's embedded in the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah.
And the backstory alone about how the Ritz-Carlton became the Ritz-Carlton is an intriguing and interesting story of entrepreneurship and, you know, the human spirit to be better. But then when you hear about how kind of the same story about, you know, the thing that makes the Ritz-Carlton so valuable is their CRM, their customer resource management software. Is, you know, I've stayed there.
I was going to say you have experience with a lot of
I've paid to send Tracy and like her trainer to go there and, you know, for a weekend workout and chill out and pamper themselves. And every time I call, hey, Mr. Brown, how you doing?
Yeah.
Now, last time that you sent your wife Tracy here, you bought roses for the room. Would you like us to do that again, or would you like us to upscale that a little bit? We just have we found a new masseuse in town that is, everybody that's had him here is just mesmerized by it. Would you like me to schedule that, or would you like me to do something different? I'm just like, who are you people?
Yeah.
Because today, I mean, honestly and truly, tell me today in your everyday life how many times you're wowed a week.
0. Maybe once.
I'm going to actually go negative because there's more time. I mean, if 0 baseline is I'm ambivalent, I'm not happy and not sad, I'm just present. You know, and a wow experience would give me +1.
Sure.
And a negative experience would be -1. I'd probably be negative 4 to 7.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because nobody does their job.
Yeah.
I mean, if I hear, well, because of COVID, one more fucking time, I'm going to lose my shit. Because that's not an excuse. You know, and again, it just seems like the world and our business community even is being lulled into passivity to where it's okay to be mediocre. It's okay to be vanilla. And what's made our country the best country on the planet is because vanilla was never good enough. I want Neapolitan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To piggyback off of what you just said, blaming things on COVID, I actually caught myself doing it yesterday.
Oh, and dude, I wish it was to me. Because that
here's
would have been awesome.
Here's the thing. It might as well have been, because as soon as I said it, your head popped Your face popped right into my mind, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Right.
Eric would slap me across the face right now. So it's working.
There you go.
You
I'm
are
haunting
embedded
your
in there.
dreams.
You are haunting my
Yeah,
mind.
life is working.
Yeah, because I said it yesterday, and I was like, "Ooh, if I'd have said that to Eric, man, I'd have a black eye right now."
Yep.
So, but yeah.
So like in a customer service.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I dropped the ball, and it was.
Yeah.
Truly because of the situation in the world right now and not having the help needed.
Well, you're kind of, to be perfectly, I mean, I'm not defending using COVID, but to be honest right now, if you have to wait for supplies to create your product right now, the supply chain is screwed.
Oh, it's terrible. And I was just having a conversation this morning because we do a lot of parents' orders for local sports teams where we'll put together a sheet, an order form of 8 different items with a design printed on them. The coach will give it to all the players. They give it to their parents. They order it 2 weeks later, bring it back to us. We then order things in and deliver.
Sure. Which up to a year and a half ago was no problem.
Right. Oh, it has never been a problem. And then we have one it's coming up, but it's not until November. They want to get this order form now, and I said I can't put that together right now. Because I know that of these 8 items, all 8 could be out of stock in November. And it might be March before I can get them. So what we're going to have to do is just the day before they want to hand it out, I'll have to see what's in stock, what's available, put it together. And it's probably going to be our last parent order for a while.
Yeah.
Because
Isn't that something?
It's sad. I can't guarantee the product. And if I can't guarantee the product, I know what's going to happen. And
only one person going to lose in that scenario.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's rough right now. Supply chains they're terrible. And I just
Did you see the article the other day on the news that all the boats sitting out
of California?
Coast? Yeah.
50-some boats sitting out there, and it's because they can't get in because the ports are full because the boats that are there can't get emptied because there aren't enough truck drivers.
Yeah.
Man. So it's going to get worse before it gets better.
So I guess in hindsight, paying people not to work. Good idea, bad idea?
Whew, it is a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't even know, I'm so far removed from that at this point, I don't even know if they're still getting the extra amount.
I have no idea.
But even if they're not, I think a lot of people got used to not having to wake up at 7 o'clock and get ready and go to work and found a way to survive on less money, and they're okay with sitting at
for a
home.
while,
and,
if you didn't pay your rent, they couldn't get kicked out.
Right.
So that took my biggest expense a month right off the table.
Right. And can I blame them? No. I mean, someone who needs that assistance,
yeah.
Why would I can't blame them for taking advantage if it's there.
Yep.
But it's like I said, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I don't see
the slide
it
is not
better.
over yet.
No,
we've not hit the bottom.
No. It's I think I know in my industry, I think we'll hit bottom. I think we still have another 6 months before we hit bottom.
Imagine going through I would assume that Christmas time is probably one of your busiest times.
Yeah.
That how can you sell something you don't have? So you can have the best experience design, you can have the best client experience, and have nothing to sell.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's very tough. I actually just got an email from one of my major suppliers this week. Mm-hmm. Usually I order and I get the stuff next day. I just got an email saying I can expect them to ship within 10 business days. I can't operate like that.
No.
I mean, so what I can do is shift my focus on what I'm offering to things that I know that I can get in quickly. Right now, that's on the signage side.
Sure.
The apparel side is just, when COVID hit, all apparel manufacturers stopped making shirts and started making masks. And they have not been able to catch up.
Well, thank God, because those have been so effective. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thanks for sacrificing for us.
Yeah. I mean, I think the intent was there. I think the intentions were good.
Good intentions don't mean shit though anymore.
It's true. It's very true.
That's a liberal mindset.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to do good.
Yeah.
Dude, we live in a results-driven. I tried to make money, Mr. Banker, so I can't make my loan payment because my business sucks. But I tried really hard.
No longer living in a world where the intention is more important.
Timmy gets a trophy even if he sucks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do believe that the intent was good. But I also know that, as you said, we are in a world of results. And
Sure.
if you can't deliver, it doesn't matter what the intention was.
Sure.
Because if I can't get these shirts done, no one's going to be happy about that. And people are starting. Initially, people were very understanding.
Mm-hmm.
That is slowly deteriorating.
We're 18 months into this now, dude.
Yeah.
Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah, now they expect me to have, like, well, why haven't you spent $50,000 on inventory so it's all sitting in your shop? And
so I could read your mind and know that 3 months from then you would need this shirt.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Fortunately, I have great customers.
Yep.
And most are very understanding.
Yep.
But I think it's only going to last so long.
Right. So what do you do about that? I mean, what's your strategy? Because,
Well, like I said, I have to focus on the things that I know I can get in and I can deliver on. And that right now is in the signage world. I've experienced price increases, but no shortage of materials. So I can adjust that. That's no problem. If I can still deliver, then we're good. So I can only control what I can control, and if I have to shift my focus away from, apparel is over 50% of what we do. But if I have to shift my focus over to the 45% of what we do and turn that into 100% of what we do, that's what I'll do. I have to survive.
Sure.
I have employees who have families that need taken care of, and my employees are my family.
Yep.
I'm going to make sure we're doing whatever we can to make it through this time. It'll come back. Things will be great again. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen.
It's America.
It's America. I mean, this is what we do. We've been doing this since we were founded. So we'll make it through. I'm positive of that. And those who stick it out and make it through are really going to reap some rewards. I feel strongly about that.
So if you're giving some advice right now, it's a great time for this. If you're giving some advice right now, and another small business owner is talking to you and going, dude, I am scared right now. What are some things in your mind that you would tell them that would help set them up to survive and maybe thrive during the next 18 to 24 when the potential is for shit to go sideways?
Sure. You're not done unless you decide you're done.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, I really truly believe that. If right now we make apparel and signage in 18 months. Who knows?
Make a mask.
Exactly. We could be
right.
We could be painting murals. I don't know.
Yep.
You have to be fluid. You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to adapt. You can't be too proud.
That's the hardest one for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I'm for me.
You have to be okay with failure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of failure here in the next 18 to 24 months. But it doesn't mean it's the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one more way that doesn't work.
Yep.
Being able to adapt, being okay with saying no.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to learn how to say no a lot in the last prior to COVID.
Explain what no means. We know what no means.
So there's a lot of different ways that I say no, and a lot of different reasons I have to. So for me, when I first started, there was nothing I would say no to as far as a project that came through the front door. I do believe that was a good call at the time. It got me.
Gotta eat.
You gotta eat. Especially starting up when you're young in business. Don't be too proud to take on the job that's going to only pay you $5 because you don't know what that's going to turn into. And in fact, I can attest to that. I had a customer who came in for an $8 decal back in, had to have been 2010, about a year in of when I started my business. That customer is now one of my biggest clients.
Just proves you never know.
You never know.
Never know.
So, that's always in the back of my head too. Like, oh shit, I'm saying no. This could become a $50,000 a year client.
Right.
But you also have to be able to take care of those who you're currently serving. And, if that's going to take away from...
Well, if you go back to, like, let's say let's go back 3 years ago, prior to COVID. You were staffed that you could handle a little job like that.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so there, to sit here and say that we should never say no to a client, or that we should always say no to a job that doesn't pay us money today, both of those are fallacies.
Sure.
You know, it comes back to where you're at specifically at that time, snapshot. Now, when we're quote unquote in survival mode, all of a sudden it's more important for efficiency. You know, everything's got to have a green number when we total it down at the bottom of the page. Can't have a black number, a red number.
Right.
It becomes more important to be picky. So I think there's so many times even today, take business that really long term is going to be a draw on the entire business. But again, in our DNA is service. And we always want to take care of the community, take care of our people, whether it makes sense financially for us or not. Yeah. So, blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, we have to be vigilant on, you know, where we're at, where the economy's at, where our client base is at. It may be very apropos to go ahead and just say, dude, I'm sorry. You know, I would normally do this. Right now, we are all hands on deck. I'm struggling to get, you know, supplies in. I want to take care of you. And in the future, as soon as I can handle a job like this, you'll be the first one I call.
Yeah.
But as of today, I cannot.
Yeah.
And I think, in general, most people understand that.
Sure.
We have a new term called Karens. They're never going to get it.
Right, yeah.
You know, so I don't even try anymore.
Never going to make everyone happy
right.
all the time. You just can't. And
so from a strategy standpoint, you know, like outside of the high, we just went 30,000 feet. You know it's going to be tough. You're going to have resilience. 100% spot on accurate. What are some little things that people listening to this today should consider? And again, I'm not asking for 3 or 10 or whatever, but is there something that you think that, hey, if I know the next 18 to 24 could get really sideways, what are some things I should do to set my business up so I have the best chance of living beyond the 18 to 24 months?
Simplify. I think a lot of us, and I am incredibly guilty of this, is trying to do everything for every customer who walks through the front door. Find out what you're good at. What can you knock it out of the park?
What does good mean in that case?
What you can provide a quality service, a quality product in a reasonable amount of time, you know, depending on the project. And not taking on those jobs that are going to push those other jobs back. You know, I've even prior to COVID, this is something I was working on. Pareto's principle, the 80-20.
Yep.
You know, find out where you can break anything in the world down to this 80-20. It's unreal.
It's flawless.
It's crazy.
Yep. But
you find where 80% of your revenue comes from, and it usually comes from 20% of the products or services that you provide. Focus on that. Don't worry about this other 80%. You're going to piss people off because, I came in last year and you did it for me.
Right.
Okay, this is this year. The world's changed. We're not doing this anymore.
Right.
You'll really find out where you're most profitable. Find out the things. It doesn't even have to be I mean, you have to have the profit, but it also, you can look at it as, what do you enjoy doing the most? Because if you enjoy doing it, you're going to do it better than anything else you're doing.
Right.
So find that 20% that provides you the 80% of joy, that provides you the 80% of your revenue, provides you 80% of your success. Focus on that. Simplify. Get rid of all the bullshit and focus on the things that you love doing, that pay the bills, that can get you through this. Because no matter what you're doing, you can find that 20%. If you know your numbers, if you have,
For sure.
I mean, it doesn't even have, like I said, it doesn't have to be numbers. It can be just a feeling. Do what you enjoy doing. Do what's paying the bills. You can get through this lull in the grand scheme of things. This is going to be a little blip. You're going to look back at it in 20 years and be like, oh yeah, remember that time when we had to, go back to basics?
Yeah.
And chances are, if you go to basics, you may never even come back to the other stuff you were doing.
If you learn the lesson.
If you learn the lesson. And it could slowly trickle back over time, but you can take 20% of the 100, then you can 20% that, you can 20% that, and you can really come down to one product that you just absolutely knock it out of the park every single time, and people come from everywhere because you do it the best. Man, that's something that I want to do so bad, and I've worked on it, and we've really whittled things down. I went through the Clockwork coaching program a couple years ago, and that was one of the things that we worked on. And in the process, I eliminated 53 products that we offered.
53?
53. Now, that wasn't 80% of everything we offered, but man, to knock out 53
that's a lot.
Products that I never have to do again because they just weren't worth it. Mm-hmm. You know how much time that freed up?
Now, did you totally eliminate them, or did you
100% eliminated them.
Gone.
If I wouldn't have done that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'd be gone right now because I wouldn't be able to handle the workload coming in, or I'd be pissing a bunch of people off at the one time.
Right.
So yeah, I eliminated 53 products, and they were little things. They weren't, it wasn't.
They're all things that made sense
crazy,
at the time.
It was all things that made sense at the time. And, just sitting here talking about this right now makes me want to go back to the shop today and eliminate 53 more.
But we'll see where you go. We'll follow you.
I'll tell you what, if you did a follow-up tomorrow, I bet you I'm going to eliminate some things tonight. And it just made sense. And I haven't even looked back at those. To be honest with you, I could probably name a couple, but I couldn't name half of the things we got rid of because it's been so long since we've done them. And I just don't miss them that much.
Right. Well, the companion is, let's flip the coin. 80% of the problems, the BS, what comes from 20% of the problem.
Sure.
So you can flip it the other way.
Yes.
So like in my case, 80% of my nightmares came from 20% of my clients. My answer?
See ya.
Fire 20% of my clients.
Yeah.
And again, that sounds cruel and harsh. But again, if 80% of the problems are coming from those 20, are those 20 honestly being served to the point where they're satisfied, happy, and they're having a wow experience?
No, exactly. And if you can send them to someone else who will take care of them,
everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Yep.
Everybody wins. And in fact, they may refer someone to you because they said, it was something he couldn't do.
Yep.
And he was honest with us about that. Yep. Sent us to someone who took care of us exactly the way we needed to be. But I think what you're looking for, he might take care of.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, it may be a tough conversation to have, but...
Oh, they're easy now.
Yeah, they're kind of fun.
The first one sucks. Again, because we build it up and make it way worse. Because, again, most of us, generally speaking, are people pleasers.
Yeah.
Truly. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But it's hard to run a business profitably and be a people pleaser. Man, that doesn't sound right. We just talked about experience design. Eric, what the hell are you saying? I'm just saying that we all have and should know our ideal client.
Right. And you are designing that experience for your ideal client. You're not designing
not
it for
everybody.
Everyone.
Yes.
So, the customer experience, that experience design is not meant to bring in everyone. It's meant to actually whittle down the bullshit and bring in the ones who will appreciate that scent of cedar when they walk through the front door. They will appreciate they'll think about the box that's printed, and like if they're paying attention to that, they're paying attention even more to my product. And those are the clients you want.
Yep.
I mean, I want the clients that know that we appreciate them. I want them to appreciate the things that we're doing for them. I think the experience design really is to whittle down everyone who doesn't appreciate that, because sure, I'll do the work for you, but those who are like, oh man, this place looks cool. I'll walk in. Ooh, this place it's a neat feeling.
You've got to Trevor himself.
Yeah, that happens.
The real guy. I need. I was going to ask for his autograph, but I got a little nervous. Well, hey, I have one more thing I want to talk about before we take it, because our bourbon glasses are getting empty.
They're pretty empty.
You said back, we've talked about Know Your Numbers now has come out 2 or 3 times, and I don't want to just leave it hang there as a generic. Can you explain, as much as you feel comfortable with, your personal experience of what Know Your Numbers means? Because I think it's probably, again, I'm married to an accountant.
Sure.
Okay? So she gets to see when that isn't the case. And when we talk about small entrepreneurs, which is that's our lifeblood. Those are my people.
Yeah.
I will go to war, go to bat, whatever, for those small entrepreneurs. I love them to death.
Mm-hmm.
They espouse everything that I believe in. But they didn't get into business to be an accountant.
Exactly.
They didn't get into business to understand what margin means, to what return on capital means, to understand what their debt to equity percentages are.
I didn't focus on that until I was 8-9 years in. When I got that
Better
book,
late than never.
That book Profit First. I mean, my business really started as just a side hustle.
Right.
It was just I can make some extra money doing this.
I like doing it, so when I get paid for it.
It was fun. I had a good time doing it, and it just kind of snowballed into what it's become. But I don't know that when I first started, I thought, oh, wow, in a year. It only took a year from me starting this side hustle to quitting my job and doing it full-time, renting a space and going at it.
Numbers change when all of a sudden my payroll's got to come from it.
Yeah, they do. And
when I'm subsidizing
I'll
with
tell
my
you
payroll.
what, numbers change even more when you have employees that rely on that, the getting paid every 2 weeks or every week or however you have
Preach
it.
on.
I mean, that's when it really gets real. Doing it yourself, like, okay, I didn't get paid this week. I can pay my bills, but
It's on me.
Shit. But every 2 weeks or every week, your employees if you don't pay them, they're not going to show up.
Right.
Now, I would tell you that if there was a time that I couldn't pay my employees, I think the crew that I have right now would be like, it's okay.
We understand. We know you'll make it right.
It's just because I've been blessed with a couple who are just wow.
Yep.
Amazing. But yeah, knowing your numbers, if you want to figure out how to do that in a very basic sense, the Profit First book.
Yes.
It's really what did it for me.
Yeah.
And really paying yourself first, paying the business, make sure your taxes are taken care of, and then whatever's left is what you have to operate on. It really makes you look at, okay, I was spending way too much over here. This isn't necessary. I need to downsize a little bit. You don't have to know your numbers the way an accountant knows your numbers.
Right.
But you have to know, this is my overhead. This is my set dollar amount that I have to hit every month. Whatever's left over is gravy. Great. Because I don't know. I mean, I know my numbers.
You've come a long way since I've known you, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Yeah.